I just want to find 11,780 votes.
The Fulton County Grand Jury investigation of Donald Trump.
What proves fact A, fact B, and fact C? If we can do that, I'm going to bring an indictment.
I'm Bill Rankin.
I'm Tamar Hallerman. Join us for Season 9 of Breakdown from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Listen now, and please follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, maybe you're feeling like hibernating this winter now that it, gets dark at like 4:30, but you'll be missing so much. We're rounding up some of our favorite wintertime spots in Pittsburgh, from the great outdoors to cozy coffee shops. It's Thursday, December 15th. I'm Morgan Moody, and this is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm here with lead producer Mallory Falk. Hello.
Hello.
And producer Elizabeth Kama.
Hello.
What keeps your spirits up during this time of like seasonal depression, which is the winter here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I will get more into this later, but for me it's really just, seizing the light when it is, being outside when it is light out.
For the 3 hours that it is light out.
For the 3 hours and getting as much as I can out of that gray, dreary day that defines a Pittsburgh winter.
What about you, Mallory?
I like to stay warm by snuggling my dog, Zero. I also have to bundle up and take her for walks, which forces me to get in a mindset to appreciate the winter outdoors, but I prefer to just snuggle her inside.
Oh,
I like to eat. I like to eat and drink. That's pretty much all I do all winter. I prepare, I hibernate, I pack on as much weight as possible. I'm like a bear.
We all love Pittsburgh here. We spend our days professionally celebrating the city on the show, but I think we could probably all agree that she is not at her prettiest in winter. It is very gray here. As you mentioned, there's, not a lot of light. So when it comes to winter activities, I like to get my dose of color and light at winter light shows. Do you guys enjoy holiday lights?
I remember going to Ogle Bay like years ago. I was a lot younger, and we went on it was like a group tour. We went on this bus, and you like drove to Wheeling, West Virginia, which we all know is like 45 minutes away. And you drive through the lights, and it was so cool. So I love lights. I think it's a really cool way for people to be creative.
I love that our first recommendation is like leave Pittsburgh for your winter activity, cross state lines.
It's worth the trip.
Oh, I did not do very many light shows, but the one that I always do is Phipps with my mom and my sister. We love it.
Yeah, Elizabeth, that's also my go-to is Phipps. I mean, Phipps is great like any time of the year. There's just so many beautiful plants and flowers there, but it's just on a whole other level in the winter. There's special winter plants there. I guess they have more than 1,000 poinsettias, including in some unusual colors. There's fun winter creatures peeking out from behind the plants that are made of natural materials like dry grass and mosses. Gotta love a good polar bear topiary.
Incredible.
But then I also really love going outside to the garden, which is, totally lit up. There are these cool glowing orbs. I'm sure there's some technical name for them that I don't know. The trees are all sparkly.
I've actually never been to Phipps during the winter, and if I have, I was like really young. But
Morgan, you got to get on that.
This year is the year.
Yeah. Make sure to get your tickets in advance though, because it does fill up. So yeah, that's my one pro tip as someone who, makes a family holiday tradition out of it, is register for your tickets in advance.
And it's running through January 8th. So Morgan, you have plenty of time to check it out. But I have to say also, Phipps is not the only show in town. So I want to shout out a few others. If you want to keep going with the garden theme, the Pittsburgh Botanic Garden has an event called Dazzling Nights. It's described as a 65-acre journey of awe-inspiring light experiences. I guess there are interactive lights on the ground that glow when you step on them. So,
that's so cool.
As someone who really wanted those light up sneakers as a kid but never got them, I feel like I could get some childhood wish fulfillment stepping on these lights.
You missed out on the LA Gear era. Yeah.
Inner
did.
child healing.
There's also a forest of light and fog that's meant to make it feel like you're walking through the Aurora Borealis.
That sounds so fun. Like, normally you'd have to go way far up north for that. So, a little closer to home, that sounds worth it.
And if you're more of a thrill seeker, Kennywood has a holiday lights show. Some of the classic rides like the Jackrabbit and the merry-go-round are open. But the other cool thing is, I guess, Kennywood has the tallest Christmas tree in Pennsylvania. So if you just want to be wowed by a ginormous Christmas tree, this is your place to go.
How tall is it?
Apparently it's 90 feet tall.
Was it locally sourced?
I don't know any 90-foot tall forests anywhere nearby, Morgan.
It apparently, according to Point Park News Service, it takes a team of roughly 8 maintenance workers a week to construct and maintain this tree. So this is not, straight from the holiday farm.
Well, to be honest, I tend to trade light shows for another type of light. Ski hill lights. So for our listeners, some of you might remember our episode a few weeks back about how climate change has been impacting our local skiing spots. We spoke to the head coach of Seven Springs Ski Racing Club, WPRC. Little inside scoop for y'all. He was actually my coach at one point because I was a competitive alpine ski racer from 5th grade to the end of high
Burrrgh.
school. And in college, I spent my college breaks coaching at WPRC. Okay. But, I love it. I spent the majority of my winters, from a really long time outside skiing. I actually got harsher tan lines from ski goggles looking like a raccoon than I did any time in the summer. Around here, we have, Hidden Valley, Seven Springs, boys. Some of those have tubing too. So
if you want to get down the hill on your butt in a tube,
Yeah.
instead of upright on skis or a snowboard, that's the way to go.
That's more my speed.
You can figure out which one's more dignified. But when I stopped skiing so much, I realized that all that time outside in the winter months was really good for fighting off seasonal affective disorder. So I make a huge point of, getting out during those darker and drearier and grayer months in Pittsburgh. So I have some recommendations for our listeners on that front.
Yeah, for those of us who are maybe a little nervous about hitting the slopes or maybe looking for something that's a touch more affordable, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I know shooting down a hill is not for everyone. I have a few other recommendations, particularly ice skating. Is that something that you guys are more or less comfortable with?
I just, I try to avoid ice when I'm driving. I only like ice, and I only like light ice in my drinks. So
fair enough. Yeah. I am not good at it. I spend more time on the ice rink on my butt than I do on my feet. But that's what practice is for. And we're lucky that we have so many rinks to practice on here in Pittsburgh. Obviously, there are skating complexes where you can, rent time. But that is not the great outdoors, and that is not what I'm here to stand here and get on my soapbox and talk about. But we do have plenty of pretty cool rinks here in Pittsburgh. I think the UPMC rink at PPG Plaza is stunning.
Yeah, I went down there to people watch the other day and just kind of watch people
watch people land on their butts.
Yeah, and be content with the fact that it wasn't me. I was warm on the sidelines, but it's gorgeous, and the tree is gorgeous. It's very picturesque.
Is that your hack for dealing with seasonal affective disorder, is just watching other people suffer in the cold from a warm distance?
Yeah, because it's like I'm still getting the benefits of being outside, but I didn't have to learn any of these harsh lessons.
I definitely recommend that because it does get busy at that rink.
It's those nighttime hours that they're usually pretty packed.
Yeah. The 10 to 12 one is not as bad.
10 to 12 p.m.?
Yeah, 10 to 12 p.m. They also sell lunch break month passes. I just found this out for $30. You could go during your lunch break if you work downtown every day. For the month of January for just $30, which
I'm just picturing people in power suits tucking them into their skates.
It's a really good deal when you consider the cost, because if you're only going skating a few times this season, it's $12 for an adult to go skating for one of the things, plus the cost of renting. So that can get a little bit steep. For me, I might do PPG UPMC rink once, and then I'll go to Shenley Park because that is less than half of that cost. Yeah, and they also have fun nights. Like they have Skate with Santa night on December 18th and Disco night on February 4th. So I will be wearing bell bottoms and turning up.
Aw, that does sound really nice. Maybe you're already starting to think about how you want next year to be different. You know, those resolutions and goals for the new year. If you're looking to buy your first home, you know, now's the perfect time to listen to the How to Buy a Home podcast. Host David Sidoni is an industry expert, and his podcast has helped so many listeners close on their first homes. David can guide you through next steps that are right for you, whether you're planning to buy a home now or 5 years from now. Plus, he just released a first-time home buyer starter kit at howtobuyahome.com. Start planning this holiday season at howtobuyahome.com and make this the last year that you rent. Find How to Buy a Home on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, for those of us that, you know, don't want to strap blades and snowshoes to our feet, what other option do we have to get outside this time of year?
Okay, I'm going to sound a little crazy, but I love to winter hike. Ugh. It's so fun. I mean, it's all about dressing right and picking interesting but doable trails.
And picking the right days. It has to be like Truly. Over 40 degrees for me.
Well, I don't know. I'll put on a few extra layers and go out in the 20 degrees. My favorite park is Riding Meadow Park. It's near me in Fox Chapel. Because it's a bit of a challenge, you know, it's a bunch of hills and like there's an off-leash dog park. So I make a lot of furry friends. I don't have a dog to cuddle up with in the winter. So I need to outsource my dog cuddling to dog parks. But, you know, there are other options for everyone. Hill-friendly, hill-averse, dog-friendly, dog-averse. And for, you know, people who are just hesitant about, you know, heading into the woods alone.
I think one of the coolest things about winter hiking, if you want to take a little trip outside the city, is that there are lots of places where you can hike and end up at a frozen waterfall, which I think is really cool. Like Ohio Pile is one that comes to mind. Or if I'm going to like be freezing, I need some kind of reward at the end, whether that's like a ski lodge with hot chocolate or a stunning frozen waterfall. And also if you want to skip hiking, something I've done in the winter that's really cool is going to Falling Water, Frank Lloyd Wright's, you know, architectural masterpiece, because that has a waterfall around it. And so you can go see the frozen waterfall and then take an indoor tour, and it kind of combines the best of both worlds.
Yes. Well, if I tried to wander around Ohio Pile to look for the frozen waterfall, I, you know, knowing me, would get off trail. And, you know, I know some other folks might want guided tours as well, guided hikes in the winter. The Audubon Society of Pennsylvania hosts a ton of free guided birds and nature walks throughout the winter. If birding is less your style, the Allegheny County Parks activities page also has guided hikes or walks. To be fair, they have some bird ones. They have like an owl hike, but they also have like other winter animals. But if you're not for the animals, for the wildlife, they have a guided twilight and full moon hike that sound really cool.
I'm not hiking at twilight, and I'm also not looking for owls. But if you're like me and you've already lost your gloves this year, so maybe outdoor activities, you know, aren't your thing, you might need something to warm up. After all of those lovely but very cold outdoor activities, you could have a tea party. Ooh. That's really the only way to like get me to do outdoor winter activities, is like to sprinkle in eating as the indoor activity.
Fair.
Cafe has this tea set experience that it looks like it makes you feel so like indulgent. Cafe is a coffee and cakery in Morningside. And they have their own like tea blends and coffee.
It's a super cute spot.
But yeah, the tea set that they have, it's on their Instagram, and it shows like a little bit of what you get for it. There's tea, and I assume that it's like hot chocolate and like this whipped cream on a board. You know how everybody puts everything on boards now? Like
That's how you know this is elevated tea time.
Yes, that's how you know your pinky is up. The whipped cream comes on a board. There's these like this tower of small sandwiches, fresh fruit, banana muffins, a chocolate fondue. It's like the tea party of my dreams. I know.
This sounds so indulgent and fun.
On their page, though, it recommends making a reservation at least 24 hours in advance. So give them time to create this lovely experience for you.
To cut the sandwiches up really small.
To cut the crusties off your sandwich. And to make it really nice. That is it sounds like a really nice experience. It's also $49 and it serves 2. And they tell you to come and spend a cold day with them at Cafe, which sounds so nice.
What if you're more of a caffeine kind of person? Like tea is not going to do it for you. You got any recommendations for us?
There are a lot of coffee shops that have had their winter menus going for quite some time, at least since after, Thanksgiving, when we kicked pumpkin spice everything out of here.
To the curb.
Yeah, and brought in like peppermint flavored everything, which I love. Atta Coffee has had their winter themed drink specials going for a little while, and they get you into the holiday spirit. They have a long list of like really good lattes. I honestly think I've tried all of them. I'm a sucker for like any seasonally themed drink. If you have a menu, I'll go through them all just to try
Variety, spice of life.
They have a peppermint mocha. It's made with like peppermint syrup, reishi peppermint tea. They've got the gingerbread latte.
Classic.
Snickerdoodle. Classic.
Ooh.
And maple almond latte, which I've also tried and also
Love a maple latte.
And then at Defer, they have do you like butterscotch? Either of you?
I do. I like it when it's more salty.
It just, to me, it tastes like the inside of a grandmother's purse.
Yes.
But
In the best way.
yeah, in a nostalgic way, but it's never going to be my first choice on the menu.
I know it's considered to be a flavor for the geriatric, but I do love butterscotch. And also Commonplace Coffee, which I just drove past the one on in the Mexican War Streets. And it's so cute. Very quaint. They have special drinks at each of their locations. So the one that they have at that one on the north side is a maple clove latte.
Yummy. You got to collect them all.
Garfield has some interesting flavors too. They have a caramel hazelnut latte, which kind of sounds classic but also really good. And this one is a Pittsburgh Smog. It's a peppermint tea latte, espresso, and vanilla syrup.
That sounds so yummy.
I think that sounds really good too.
It does sound so yummy, and I also just love that our like signature taste is always going to be like smog, steel, something very industrial.
Right. Seasonal depression. It is, yeah.
Smog, steel, and seasonal depression. A tagline for Pittsburgh if I've ever heard it.
There's also Christmas themed bars if that's your jam too. There's Miracle on 6th downtown, which I just kind of want to go in to like take pictures. I think even for like maybe your social media feed, that might be a really great place because it looks like Christmas like threw up in there. It looks amazing. It's just like
The only time throw up has sounded like aesthetic.
Yeah, visually appealing.
And there's also the Tipsy Elf in Greenfield if you're looking for more places to get use out of that Santa suit that you bought.
Well, now you know where to go to pick up a nice, holiday coffee or tea. Head to check out a light show, and then for the most adventurous among us,
for the most agile among us,
most agile, go on a twilight hike.
A little more news before you go. Planned Parenthood of Western Pennsylvania has its first union. Workers secured their contract after 20 months of negotiations. It'll increase the hourly base wage for healthcare assistants, and after 3 years, they'll be eligible to earn $20 per hour. It's also creating protections for parental leave policies. And before he even begins his term as governor, Josh Shapiro has secured at least one very powerful demographic, the Swifties. The state's current attorney general tweeted that he reached an agreement with Ticketmaster after receiving consumer complaints about its Taylor Swift tour presale. You might remember some registered fans weren't able to get tickets. Our newsletter editor, Francesca DeBecco, was one of them. Shapiro says they can shake it off because now they'll get a second chance to secure tickets. That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. If the weather outside is frightful, you can stay inside and listen to us and subscribe to our Hey Pittsburgh newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city, so we'll see you then.
A little bit of werewolf action there.
Wait, Twilight like the series or Twilight like the time of day? I'm not trying to go for a hike with a bunch of lusty tweens.
Listen, I will defend Twilight. But no, it's the time of day.